Hey, welcome
All
marketers,
right, here
traders,
we are.
and AI enthusiasts. Welcome to another episode of the AI Advantage Show. We're your hosts, Kim Reynolds and Colin Lepiscopo.
I'm Colin Episcopo.
Yep. And we're here to equip marketers and professionals like you with the insights and connections that you need to gain a competitive edge with artificial intelligence. So, on today's episode, we'll be unpacking the latest AI trends and discussing how you can simplify AI adoption and marketing for your business. So, this week, we're excited to sit down with tech entrepreneur Christopher Brock, the founder of Primary Hosting. With a very storied career spanning Facebook app development, he actually developed an app back when those were a thing on Facebook that had millions of app installs. And then he moved on to programmatic advertising for some major corporations. And he's basically just always been on the cutting edge of the industry. So Christopher works on growing his amazing community on Facebook of nearly 250,000 AI enthusiasts called ChatGPT for Business and Life, and basically just wants to integrate AI into everyone's lives and businesses. So before we talk to Chris, I know a lot of you may be feeling stuck for inspiration and maybe you're looking for the next big idea. Well, the AI Prompt Exchange has over 2,000 field-tested marketing prompts just waiting for you to explore. It's free to join, totally free, and you can log in now and have access to the largest database of pure digital marketing prompts. So whether you want to optimize your current approach or you're looking to discover your next campaign, the AI Prompt Exchange will spark some new possibilities to take your marketing further. Just visit theAIPromptExchange.com to get your access. So Chris, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Before we get started, I know that you have been really busy with speaking and events and everything AI related. So can you kind of give us a little bit of a rundown on what you've been up to?
Sure. So since AI has really developed over this year, I've been able to attend a lot of really cool conferences. I was able to go to MIT's CCEL Imagination and Action event, which is their 60th anniversary for their Department for Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence. It was really awesome. I got to meet a lot of legends that developed modern computing, even great people like Dr. Bob Metcalfe that invented the Ethernet cord. Several great players were there. I ended up actually starting to work with one named Dr. Michael Stonebreaker, who invented Postgres. So that was a cool room to be in. We also were able to attend VCon earlier this year. So this was the event that Gary Vee put on. It was around initially like NFTs and sort of the crypto world, but I think they're pivoting into this AI space. So I wanted to check that out. That was over in Indianapolis. A lot of great talks there. I got to speak a little bit about philosophy of life with Deepak Chopra, which was pretty cool. Last week, which was sort of the combination of this sort of work we've been doing, I got to go to Quantico for my second time to their cyber hub, and presented by the CTO of the Marine Corps System Command and others in their department. They had an AI summit, so we got to present our smart facilities platform. So that was really awesome. Coming up, we're going to be in Boston at the Generative Artificial Intelligence World, hosted by AGI Insights. That's going to be September 12th through the 13th. We're going to also attend the AI conference, and we're looking forward to that. That's in San Francisco at the end of this month. And that's going to be all of the major unicorn players in this new AI movement. So we've been really excited that our community has enabled us to have a voice and attend some of these really cool conferences and events that are out there now around this new tech.
That is so awesome. And that sounds like a really, really interesting event. I would actually love to go to that. But most of our viewers are business owners and marketers. And so in your opinion, what is the most common application of AI for businesses right now, like the smaller businesses, not enterprise level, but using AI in a small business or, as a marketer?
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great question. And I love small businesses. I've worked with thousands over the years, and I really have a passion for small businesses, nonprofits. Right now, I think that there's a couple different AIs that are going to be important for small business. First, just using native ChatGPT or Claude.ai, a native AI system that you can ask questions to and start to use, is the first step. I think you need to have some curiosity and actually use it yourself to see actually what generative AI is. Once you actually start using it, it's how to pivot and start using it effectively. Writing blogs, for instance, for a small business or your landing page copy is a great way that you can utilize ChatGPT in your business. You can start off by just copying it from your landing page on your website, putting it into chat with a couple prompts on trying to make it more effective, more driven on engagement or calls to action. But as you progress, I think you'll find that there's ways that you might be able to integrate AI into your website. And there's probably ways you can integrate AI into your email platforms and your calendaring platforms or scheduling. And then probably the final and the biggest step will be utilizing AI as a chatbot on your website. So you still have those really cool live chat tools or an intercom like product. So it connects people that are coming to your site to your sales team or to your marketing team or to the education they need. I think with AI, this is a very cost-effective big win for businesses that like lead generation coming inbound.
I think that all of those are awesome ideas. We actually put an AI chatbot on our site just a few days ago.
Yeah.
And the fun part was, and it is, it's an ongoing thing, but training the chatbot. We use an app called Custom GPT, and I noticed that we call our bot Ada Astralis. She's our virtual AI assistant. But I noticed that she would, like, I'd ask some random questions and she'd get a lot of them right. But she also, like, I asked, hey, how much is it to join the prompt exchange? And she goes, well, it's free initially, but there's also paid tiers.
Like, wow. Yeah, she's inventing product value ladder product on the spot. I love it.
That's funny. Now,
I love, go ahead.
I love CustomGPT.ai. Like Alden, who is the CEO of that, he was an early member in our group, ChatGPT for Business and Life. I also got to meet Alden in person at the CSAIL event at MIT. He's developed one of probably the fastest growing, most affordable platforms for custom chatbots that make training a chatbot very easy. I mean, This is something that a year ago, sometimes you couldn't even really train it in the same mechanism. And you had companies like a Jasper like pop out and be dominant. What you're finding now is that other companies are starting to develop really good products, and Alden's Custom GPT is definitely one. Now you can train his chatbot not only on your website, looking at like your sitemap and your XML, which you may have done, but you can upload PDFs to it, right? Or Word documents or Excel information, and make that the core information that you want the chatbot to reference before it goes out to OpenAI's model. So there is this idea of training that is in his system fairly easy, whereas doing it with an API would be really tricky. So there's things now that small businesses should look into. That there is an investment side. It's not free. He has not even a free plan, but I don't think his should be free because it costs so much money. Just to do a call costs money in the APIs that he's using. But the other thing that makes his system, go for it.
Well, I was just going to say, and we might be getting a little too in the weeds for a lot of people who, maybe are just getting started with ChatGPT and things like that. But I wanted to ask, because I do think this is something that some small businesses are going to implement. But what about the businesses that say, hey, I don't know if this really applies to my business, or I don't think really AI in general is going to be something that I'm going to use in my vertical or with my products and services. So like, what would you say to a business owner that's kind of a little bit more hesitant, or just saying like, hey, I just don't think this is for me? Okay.
So that's a great question. And that's a difficult question. I encounter it quite a bit. There's a lot of hesitancy on choosing, should I use AI? There's choices out there and so many now that we don't know how to sort of select which AI. So I think that since there's such a new product and technology and so many offerings that are popping up, I think we're starting to find people are paralyzed and not making that decision to even use AI. Where I'm at, unfortunately, is really trying to find people that understand AI is going to impact their business and then empowering them to use AI. Finding people that are on the fence or hesitant or fearing that it's going to turn into the Terminator or take their job. There's these fears. What I really try to explain to people is that this fear that they have is false evidence appearing real. This fear is not in actuality, it's actually in their brains. And if they were able to adopt and start just using AI, even in a small scale, they can see the benefits that some of the workload they're doing could be increased or made more efficient 3 to 5 times. And I really try to teach and have a somewhat of a curriculum that if you start using AI and become not only a prompt engineer, but just someone that feels very comfortable utilizing AI in their workflows, you might be able to perform your job 50 times better than you could last year. And that's such a competitive advantage. And if you don't take that competitive advantage, your competition will. And I definitely think that people will be replaced by people using AI. They won't be replaced by an AI by itself. So that's the big move is you must adopt it.
I got to ask a follow-up question there. I got to ask a follow-up question there, Chris, because 50x the output. I mean, that sounds, I mean, I'm not challenging you. I'm like, I want to know how to do that. I mean, I feel like my output has definitely increased. I mean, it definitely has. I mean, it's provable, but 50x is insane. How do you accomplish that?
That's a great question. So I got that number really because Bill Gates said this in one of his books. It's quoted that software is the only industry that you can be 50 times better than your opponent. You'll see someone in sports like a LeBron James might be 3 times better than anyone else on the court at the NBA level. Is he 5 times better than some people? Possibly, but he's not better than 5. Software is this only level of capabilities that you can outstrip your components out and then see just each value that it brings. So AI, if you start utilizing it, you can see you can get more lead flow. If you got 5 leads last week and you got 25 this week, that's a 5x. But if you start using AI and you start using ads and you start this social media and advertising push, what if you turned 5 leads into 100 leads a week or 250 leads? And there's definitely very measurable ways you can get to 250. One sort of remarkable case, now it's not a 50x, but earlier this year, and I just posted in my group, I had the luxury of meeting Emory Jones. He's the quarterback of the University of Cincinnati. And what we're seeing here, I helped him set up ChatGPT. And this was like 5 or 6 months ago. And we started discussing with him ways that as a performance athlete, you can increase your performance, gamify your regiment, better nutrition plan, better learn for him being a student that's coming in his senior year to a program. How do you become a better leader? Asking these questions. On Saturday, he scored 7 touchdowns. He threw 5 and ran in 2. So just utilizing AI in a gamified environment, everybody that I'm working with is seeing major increases. And it's just, even for me this year, I got published for some of my work on intentional models at a pretty decent sized journal. I've been to all these conferences. I've grown a group from 0 people to 240,000 plus. I've been able to build a platform that's, not only for small businesses or medium businesses, but for government ready industry. So it's definitely in my life been in a leveraged advantage that right now I think we have this opportunity that every day we use it before someone else does. We had so much more opportunity today than they had. So if eventually it's all going to catch up and there's going to be this bell curve that flattens out. But right now, I think we're still in this very small part of this bell curve, especially when it comes to company adoption of tech. And it's really saying yes and knowing that it's not free, but it's not also $50,000 a month for a small business. A small business, if they could set aside 250 to 500 a month, they could probably see very distinctive changes in their business if applied correctly.
Oh, wow. Well, speaking of being applied correctly,
Man,
what
I
are,
love that. That is so
yeah,
cool.
what are some examples that you've seen of businesses using, small businesses primarily, using AI the right way?
Well, I think we were talking about it a little bit earlier. Like, I think chatbots are great. I think that that's a big win and a great win for generative AI, definitely within its lane and its capability. And tying that into your workflows, into your calendars, into your appointments, that's a good win for companies that are bringing people into their websites. The other big win would be the companies that, especially small businesses, that have trouble getting traffic to their websites. Rewriting your copy is going to be the number one thing you can do. And also your bios, maybe your LinkedIn bios, maybe your outreach emails. Having those processed through an AI, maybe your value that you're presenting, maybe you have a vocabulary that could be improved and you don't even realize it yet. It's almost like having, I would think, like a McKinsey and Company consultant in your pocket, and you're a small business. This is so much different than what even businesses could do a year ago, what you could do today, just by spending some time with your smartphone on ChatGPT. And if you take the investment and you buy the $20 a month plan and you download the app for Android or iPhone, you can actually speak to it. So you could actually have ChatGPT and you do voice memos. So that will help you be a better prompter if you can talk to this AI naturally. And that just comes with being comfortable with AI. And that goes back to just using it. You got to just try using it. And I have some really great examples I'll share, if you don't mind, on just using it. One that I used was not in a business application, because I mean, if you're a small business owner, you don't want to like go to your business, okay, AI is going to solve it. I don't even know what I'm using yet. Start using it for yourself at home. If you're a family and you have kids, like we started early on, I started like making sort of a comic book series with just me and my family members. So my wife and like our kids, and like we talked about like what we wanted to be. So we wanted to be the musical Marvels. My daughter plays piano in real life, so she really liked that. So we were a superhero group based in Cincinnati, and there's the Roebling Bridge right behind me. So this was our headquarters, and we travel city to city and fight a bad guy and their pet, and then we'd see the sights of the city. And once we trained the AI on how to help us with our bedtime stories, as a family, we became the main characters in our own story. And that enabled my 10-year-old daughter to effectively use ChatGPT and even Midjourney to illustrate the book. So we just had to use it as a family or in a communal sort of environment without any repercussions. And once we started seeing what the AI could do, it was easy to say, well, if it can write a story about my family and just sounds good and fun, it can definitely rewrite my landing page. And that's when you can move to that business application.
So you're actually a superhero. I mean, we never knew. I mean, that honestly, that is about the coolest usage for AI I think I've ever heard, that you're able to like create authentic, original bedtime stories that you can share with your family, and where you guys are superheroes going around kicking butt and taking names. That's so cool. What a great example. And I think that is a great tip to take it personal first, right? And kind of play around and see how it can be used. And then once you kind of see the application, then you probably, the light bulb moment will happen, right? Where you go, wait a second, here's how I can use it in business, or here's how this could serve my team. Here's how I'm going to be a better leader, and things like that. So that's awesome.
Right. Like, I think that AI is not like this robotic machine that's going to autonomously do everybody's job. It's really, in a very real way, an assistant. A virtual assistant powered by AI that's based upon your intentionality. You prompt it. It's totally a tool. And if you look at it as a tool set that you can have control of, and you start to have better understanding of its capabilities as a tool, you'll be just much more effective. The other thing, when I first started, and especially like, what does this black box, AI is like very scary. Oh, it can do everything. What does that mean? And they say this black box of knowledge, like, what does this knowledge box that I can ask this ChatGPT box of intelligence, what does it know about my business? What does it know about my industry? You can do, like, I would call it like, not necessarily reverse engineering, but just asking in a deconstruction sort of fashion, what do you know about my business? If I'm a carpet cleaner, what do carpet cleaners do? What's the history of carpet cleaning and vacuums, and what do you know about business in this sector? If I do a restaurant, what do you know about restaurant? What type of restaurant are you? What do you know? What type of recipes do you know? What type of business strategies have you seen work? And start asking it questions like, what do you know about this subject? And I've even found that if you ask it to lay it out in a table of contents sort of setup, like you're going to read a book, that's sort of helpful because you sort of get a better understanding of your niche and what this AI knows about that niche. And if you add what you know, you have this amazing platform to really produce what you know works, have a consultant AI in the side, and it becomes your virtual assistant, this sort of like I would say like an avatar of yourself or of your business.
I have found with using ChatGPT especially that you can use it for very specifically with well-crafted prompts, but you can also use it kind of just in a free form kind of manner to have those conversations. Like I tell my husband, I'm like, oh, I was just talking to ChatGPT, and it's like, because but I do. We have these conversations, and so there is absolutely a place for well-crafted prompts to do specific tasks, but there's a big use case for just talking and learning what it knows. And I'm amazed on how much it does. But
Great research assistant.
oh, for sure. Um, you've done a lot with AI, and you've talked to a lot of people. Like, what's the craziest myth about AI, like that you've encountered, or misconception?
Well, probably the biggest fear is that AI is going to become the Terminator, or we're going to sign up and become the part of the Matrix, or we're in a simulation, all these like sort of science fiction. And like what really happened, I think for us, like in the 80s and 90s, we had better science fiction movies than we had technology. So we have these like very vivid thoughts of the Terminator or robots abolishing us out, or like HAL 3000, not opening the pod door. So we have these fears that are just built in to our outlook because of our understanding of science fiction. I think that fear stops people from utilizing technology. And I think that if we can overcome the fear, and there's actually, like in the academic world, there's some major players pushing to stop.ai or pause.ai, because I think they're attributing characteristics to the tool that's not there. This is not an intentional person. This is an intelligence box that you can prompt, and you can have what you were mentioning before, Kim, this like chain of thought process, which is great. Like, don't start with just one prompt. This isn't like a browser where you just say, hey, search for their local restaurant. This is a restaurant I am. What does that mean? Well, how can I better market? How can I better drive sales? And you can start building this thread out. So I think spending time with the AI and being curious about it in a positive way, like looking at it that it's like the novelty of AI is very important, and not this fear of it's like I don't understand tech because I'm too old, don't want to touch it, I'll outsource it down the chain. I think that's a bad play. Like I have people now that are like 60s and older that I could never convince to ever do a Zoom call, right? And then COVID happened and they could use Zoom, which was a great evolutionary step in their technical use. Now they use AI, and they had a fear of AI just because they didn't build it, and they just assume it's for someone younger. So don't just assume that it's for somebody younger, because typically the business owner, if you're 40 to 70 right now, that's probably the typical business owner age. With that, like you can embrace AI and really automate some of this mundane work. And though you do got to spend more time to learn something new, it's something that the rewards will pay off. It's just saying yes as opposed to saying no or hold off, or let's see what the industry does, then I'll make my decision in a year from now.
Yeah, and then you're going to be more than a year or more behind, and I think it is good to point out kind of what is science fiction and what's real. Personally, I like the AIs in Interstellar. They've got like humor settings and truth settings and things like that, right? They're always at 90% truth, and they're like, because humans can't handle 100% truth. And I'm like, oh man, we're going back to small group here. But I do want to touch on this because I think this is important, especially as businesses continue to adopt AI and it becomes a part of their workflow. And now it's something that they're relying on, right? And they're making all these advancements. What happens now when regulators come in? Because now you've got this happening at a global scale with the World Economic Forum and things like that. And as somebody who's dealt with, let's just say, legislation by politicians that don't actually understand what they're legislating. I don't want to get on a pedestal and preach here, but I'm starting to get that sense with AI where they're literally thinking about Terminator and Skynet. And it's like, guys, this is a language model. So what can you say about kind of where they're currently at with regulations and what that's looking like in the future?
So I have my own unique thoughts for sure about regulation. I have a data center. We're a cloud brokerage platform. So when AI really hit last year, I started the Facebook group. I also convinced sort of my stakeholders that I work with that we needed to have our own AI technology, that we could run our own large language models. So we put in our own AI platform, privatized AI. I'm a big proponent of that. I'm also into open source AI. Open source, many business owners might have a WordPress website. You have that because people from the goodness of their heart use Linux, and it's a giving community, and it's free like free speech, not free like free beer. So you can be charged for it, but anybody can do it. And who owns it? It's sort of not really ownable in the traditional sense. It's this new open source licensing. So I think that's a very important thing to consider when we start thinking about public policy that may enable only big companies like a Google or an OpenAI or a Microsoft or an Oracle or a Salesforce, or only those companies, to have access to AI hosting and language model hosting, and then making it too expensive via permits or licensing to have AI servers, or flat out illegal. So there's a lot of issues, I think, with regulating this AI this early on, because I feel that I have a decent grasp on AI, probably better than most people in Capitol Hill. And I still don't think I would have the capacity to start putting complete rules in place for AI. And in all honesty, I think that the people that could do the most harm with AI wouldn't follow the rules anyway, because they make the rules. They're the governments and nation states. So I think that anything that would hurt small business or innovation or prevent people from using open source software, because this transformer sort of model with AI is an open source concept. So I hope we're not regulated out of usage.
No, I think you're right too. Exactly. The people, the bad actors or the big corporations who are filling the pockets potentially of the legislators, they're going to be okay. So it's going to be AI for them and not for you. So we definitely don't want that if that's how it's going to go.
Exactly right.
Chris, to bring this back into like how the small businesses can really utilize AI. I was thinking about something. I rarely do Google searches anymore. Rarely. My go-to is ChatGPT, and or Bard. I actually use Bard a lot because Bard doesn't have that same trading cutoff date. But if I do this, how do you think that's going to impact the small businesses that rely on search traffic, especially paid search traffic, since you have an amazing background in advertising? So how do you see AI transforming the advertising landscape for small businesses?
Sure. So right now, I think the biggest opportunity would be organic. If you can have an organic stream on social, is probably the best traffic driver for just views to a website. If you're a service-based business, Google's not going to go away. So if you're buying ads and you're on Google reviews and people are searching for your address because, hey, I need a plumber, my basement's leaking, it's probably still smart to buy those keywords on search ads. And also, ensure that you have a good lead system to capture your leads when they come to your website. Like, I think those are the first sort of must things have a good lead form, have your traffic source, have your business page owned by your business. So you can manage your reviews, respond back to your reviews. So Google is definitely has its place in this ecosystem. I think what we're going to see over time, and it's probably going to hit like the Shopify stores or just the e-commerce stores first, there's going to be recommendation engines. I think you saw this with Instacart, which makes sense. This is owned by Altman, or not owned, but founded by Altman. So if he's a part of that and part of OpenAI, I can see how Instacart's ordering system for recipes would give you a generative AI recipe, but also pair you with the products you need to buy. I think we're starting to see this in Expedia and a couple other like location-based travel apps. But over time, I think we're going to start seeing recommendation engines that are just going to make the buying experience easier. And if the AI can start bundling what you're purchasing, whether it's a recipe or you're building a pole barn, and it could go out and grab all of the components needed for that order, I think that'll be the thing that we see the most usage on AI. And if you're not really in that space, I don't think it's going to impact you as immediately as it will those companies with larger distribution of products.
So what would your recommendation be to a small business that isn't necessarily like a Shopify store or whatever, that maybe they've counted on their content marketing and organically to drive traffic, and so many people are now getting their answers from ChatGPT. How do they become that go-to source that ChatGPT uses? Do you have ideas on how people can up their likelihood of being referenced or a source of knowledge?
I think there will be an entire cottage industry that sort of pops up in marketing that helps people be trained into the AIs. I'm certain that there's going to be a ChatGPT 5 or 4.5 or somewhere where they have a more modern update of their information. I think it's going to be always hard for small businesses to be trained within the AI. If you're, and there's a lot of brackets under small business. So if you're a small business that's been around for 40 years and your grandfather invented a certain process, there you might end up in the AI, right? Otherwise, it's going to be hard for you to sort of show up in the AI. The best leverage, I think, is to use the AI to write as many sort of pages on your website that will rank in search, and then use AI and ensure that you do your fundamentals well. Like when you're a small business, you can't, if you have someone come into your website and they're not able to go into a call to action to either set an appointment or call direct, which I love. Call direct is like, you're going to like get an appointment if somebody calls you direct, or transact if they can buy something from you online, or if they can hit your online scheduler so they can schedule the demo. What you need to focus on as a small business is ensuring that if a customer comes to your website, you're giving them all of the means necessary to contact you, communicate, and set up that next call to action. That is what I would focus on 100% first, and then use AI for maybe your chatbot that drives people through to your calendar or appointment or recommends that person products from your site. But I would make sure that you're doing those fundamentals first and using AI to write your landing page. Once you get that down, there's some steps, but I see so many people that miss those fundamentals. I think there's probably like 10 fundamental things you need with web or tech, and most companies try to do 2 and think they're going to find success, and it's really not that. And some of these tools aren't even expensive. It's just they all need to be put in place and connected. So I would search for that integrator, and I would even search on AI like, hey, this is the type of business I run. I'm trying to do this. I do this well. You can probably find a plugin, or you can use Claude or Bard to search your website, and it will train itself a little bit on your website where you can ask it, how can I improve? Those are the real tactical things that you can get a big win, and it costs practically nothing but your time. And if you had like the right experts or the right prompts that you may have in your prompt exchange, you might be able to do more in an hour than what you've paid consultants and web developers over the years, thousands and thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, and not really seen success. You might be able to spend an hour and know that you got to spend $100 a month now, but you've now upped your game because now you have these components that are working in unison.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I
no, that's
was-
great. I mean, if only there was an agency that existed to serve the small businesses and help them with AI. No, but seriously, that's why we started this, because we recognized that need and knew that we could bring this expertise and help businesses and either train their teams or show them how to do this or give them a done for you package that kind of like helps them kind of get ahead of the competition. And I think, I can't remember who said it, but like one of the best examples I've ever heard is like being where the need is for your customers, like whatever industry you're in, whatever products you have. And the best example was like, it was like a locksmith, and they had little stickers that were by like this padlock or this lock that was like notoriously always like failing or something, or something like, if you're let's say you do elevator repair, well, you probably should have something on every elevator in your area, so it's like being where it's like the right time, right? Being there at the right time for the customer when they have that need. So however that looks online, and obviously, like you said, having those right CTAs and having your site dialed in, so that way when they do get there, maybe it is arriving at your site, they know exactly where to go and what to do, and they already have the reason why. They're already highly motivated because they already have the need. So I think you're definitely right. That's going to be key.
What do you think small businesses, like what is a tool or emergent AI technology or use case that small businesses should really keep an eye on going into 2024?
So I think that brands are now starting to find that they need to put out content. I never thought a brand should have to be like the local news broadcast daily. Like that's too much for a small business. There's tools out that I think that if you just did an interview setup like we're doing now, you could have like an Otter AI summarize what we're saying. You could also have it then create or parsed into sort of a real format through an AI. Like there's an Opus Pro that can take a long form show like this and condense it down to little clips and let you know which ones you should post on social media, which ones are relevant. It'll even write the social media post for you. So I think there's some ways that, no, I'm not like saying you should become a broadcast, like sort of journalist as a business. There are ways that you can leverage AI to start creating new content in a way that you feel comfortable sharing that is authentic, even though you're using AI to do it. I think that sometimes when you're selling digitally, it's nice to know that there's a real person on the other side that's actually running the business. And this is a medium that we're connecting on. And I think that if you're able to start leveraging your authentic service or what you're giving, and then not have to hire a gigantic video marketing company to develop, a 5-minute reel that you're going to use over and over. I think that's a big win. And these things you could test for free. Some you might pay $20 or $30 for a month, but you could get so much done in your first month, you could just cancel thereafter and have at least enough to start sharing or that you feel comfortable with. I'd also say that maybe the idea of quality that we had in the 90s of video production is not the same as we have today. And I found that to be very true. Like you don't have to land that 160-second video that you're going to use for the next 2 years and everything must be placed perfect. I think the world is beyond that, and people can sell using their phone cameras, and they do it quite effectively. So I think we now have all these tools in our pocket, and it's just utilizing it and not being afraid that someone may not click on your or promote you or share. And if you are a good business and your family loves you and your friends are around, they're going to share your content too. And I think that's where you're going to see some real opportunities by using AI in benefit of your business without spending a ton.
You just mentioned a tool that really intrigues me. And can I get do you know the link or the website? Because I'd like to post that in the chat because I think people would really be interested. I think it's like Opus AI.
I think it's opus.pro, Pro, opus.pro. but yeah, I think they're very good. They there's also others in the industry. I mean, there's so many apps and things, but I do feel that they have a real quality product. But there's others out there. Like there's all these great infographics we have over at our group. Adam has developed and his team at AI Fire just some really amazing infographics. So there's about 75 of them in one of our posts that are pinned to the top. And if you want to find like the best thing for short form reels, there's an infographic for it. There's an infographic for educators. There's an infographic for small businesses. There's an infographic for startups. So I think in that list, it'll at least get the juices flowing and let you find some dedicated apps that may help a little bit more than just pure ChatGPT.
What was that? The one you were just speaking about, was that an app or an AI tool that creates infographics?
No, there's several ones PowerPoint's going to be totally changed over. That's the one I'd start with first. There's Copilot. If you have Office 365, this is a big deal. I mean, you can let the AI sort of help you build an entire presentation. I'm seeing a lot more pitch deck or PowerPoint AI solutions right now, more so than infographics. Adam makes his infographics with his team. That's who I mentioned, but an AI Fire. But there's infographic systems definitely coming our way. And I think that some of them are going to be built upon what ecosystem you're in. So as a small business, you're either running Office 365 or you're running like Google for Work. If you're running something else, like good for you. I mean, that's really interesting. But there are these two other tools right now through Google and Microsoft are going to be leading the way with empowering AI through the Office suite. So it's going to show up in your word processing, your Excel or Sheets. It's going to show up. It's going to show up in your PowerPoint or your presentation app for Google. So you're going to have all of these apps that are there. There's even probably going to be AIs that are going to search your OneDrive or your G Drive, and you'd be able to ask the AI questions about what's in a folder as that core source of information, like training an AI. All of that's going to be happening. I think they're rolling it out to paying customers and in beta. But for all businesses, that's probably the number one place you're going to see AI hit first. The second one I would definitely recommend, if you're doing any type of Zoom calls, you need like an Otter.ai. Otter.ai is going to transcribe an entire meeting. It's going to summarize it. It can share information to whoever joined the Zoom call. And then that can be parsed or made blogs or into sales contracts or just at least returned back to in a way that's meaningful. The third one that I think you should look into is probably buying ChatGPT's monthly license. You're going to have a couple new tools, especially their plugins, and you're going to have the ability to do a personalization and some training in ChatGPT that you're not given out of the free version. There's all types of different apps. So if those aren't the ones that you're like totally bought into, check us out at ChatGPT for Business and Life. And we always are sharing sort of the latest in AI. And maybe that's, a good place to start too, if you're just overwhelmed with the selection.
We use a tool called Magi. Instead, I actually pay for the upgraded ChatGPT, the Pro account or whatever. But I also use Magi, and they do happen to be a sponsor of this show, so I will give them a little plug. But the reason why I use Magi is because they have APIs. They integrate with ChatGPT, Claude, Lambda. I can't think of all of them, but
SDXL, you can SDXL 1.0 for images.
Yeah, they have the image generation too. But what I love about them, what they do that isn't so easy to do with ChatGPT is you can create custom personas. And so that's like giving those instructions to ChatGPT, especially. They tell them, okay, well, I'm this, this, and this, or pretend you are this, this, and this. So you can set those custom personas, and those are really, really helpful. So I definitely think that ChatGPT is a great investment, but I think a tool like Magi that lets you leverage ChatGPT and Claude and switch between them, even within chats, and save your stuff and all that, it's a really good tool. I use it every day. The only time I don't is when I have coding questions like I did yesterday and I go to Bard. So
That's awesome. I think that all of these third-party tools are typically solving a pain point. And honestly, ChatGPT or Claude, where it looks like a traditional browser, it's so wide open, you don't even really know how to effectively use it. So if there's interfaces that help you leverage this technology, and they've spent typically a lot of money and time trying to figure out how to make the experience easier. So I'm totally with you. Like I've used AI PRM too. They're sort of unique. They're a Chrome extension that can sit on top of ChatGPT, and you can save and build prompts and use their prompt library. There's just all types of different solutions out there, and it really is like, you got to fit your budget. If you're a small business, even for me, like I'm not going out to try to purchase every AI thing because it's cool. You'll soon end up paying hundreds of dollars a month for tools that you might use for a minute. So definitely be mindful of.
I know somebody who does that sometimes. I wonder. Kim's notorious. Kim's notorious for like, I found this. And there's always like so many different options, like 5 or 10 different options. They all do kind of the same thing, but some have different. I mean, you could go crazy. So I don't know. Maybe this is a good time to tell us some of the other like top tools that you use.
Well, for me, so I've been really just following the news with AI. Like I've really learned a lot from my group. We have a lot of SaaS founders that are there. So if there's anyone that shares something with me, I definitely check it out. I'm happy to check it out. Sean Vosler came out with Movable Type recently, and it can help you write a book like this. Amazing. Really amazing. Like, I don't know if AI will increase people's readership, but AI can definitely be a ghostwriter for very complex concepts, and you can stay authentic, but you can definitely do some interesting things. We mentioned customgpt.ai before. I highly recommend them for small businesses because you can build your persona, build your app, and then embed it on your website with a JavaScript code. There's one, if you're a little bit more enterprise or a little bit more fluid with coding, Thomas Hansen runs an Airniro, AIRNIO.com, that they have developed something that I think is pretty special. I mean, I think it would work for small businesses. If you have a Shopify store, you could utilize this app. It will look at your Shopify store and create a chatbot app that has all of your recommendations on your Shopify store. Really cool. There's WordPress apps, and like I'm a WordPress developer. I love WordPress. I've coded on it for like a long time now, probably like 14 or 15 years. So seeing its evolution and growth, but there's some really slick AI solutions for WordPress that'll help you with auto blogging. And like that used to have like a bad content production because it would just spin content or be PLR, publicly licensed write articles that, you could use it or modify it, but everybody else could too. I think you can have a plugin now on your website that will help you write content that's specific for you. If I'm in Cincinnati, I can say, hey, I'm in Cincinnati, I'm a plumber, and I'm focusing on commercial. This is what I need to write about. This is what I want to focus on, and mention something about, ESG, like environmental sustainability goals or something. It can write that specifically. And if that's in your back end for your content management system, it makes it easier to blog. And then finally, on the AI side, I would say that just try to find some communities out there that are sharing a lot of information. You'll find this, like for our group, we're on Facebook, ChatGPT for Business and Life, but you'll see Discord. If you're in the Discord communities, there's a lot of people that are in Discord communities now that are sharing, and also tune into like, the AI Advantage and other podcasts, because we're all sort of learning together, and all of this is coming at us so fast. And don't be afraid to pivot, because, something that was very expensive, like in January, maybe having the price halved because there's more competition, or maybe the competition comes in and is at a higher value, lower cost. So I would say be flexible and not like I'm buying this one solution for the next 5 years of my business. It's more of, hey, this is a solution that's working for me right now. And if it's plugged into OpenAI, we know OpenAI is never going to go away at this point. That's a good decision on WordPress and open source. But when you're coming to a SaaS platform, be careful when you're signing up for, $50 to $250 a month items that may or may not have usefulness every day, but have extreme usefulness for a 15 to 20-minute run when you first sign up.
Well, looking into the future a little bit,
Great tips.
Where do you see the adoption of AI technologies for small businesses, like in the next 5 years? How do you see that? How can we, like on this show, help businesses get that innovative mindset to start bringing AI into their business?
So honestly, I would start with the low-hanging fruit of the people that know AI is going to impact their business. For me, and in my realm right now, I'd love to educate and share with people that are sort of naysayers on AI, and I can debate them or argue them all day, but I could also help out 5 other businesses in that same time frame. So with that, I would like to, I would just like to say that A, you have to use it, and B, you have to move into a direction where you're using AI in your day-to-day life. And if you use it for your business and you use it in your life, you're going to see what happens over the next few years on how you can adopt it. There's only going to be so many ways a small business can utilize it. So know that it's going to be in your office product. It's going to be in your email. It's going to be in your PowerPoints and Excels. It's going to be on your landing page and your chatbot. It could be a strategist with you, but I don't see AI ever doing your service work. Like it's not going to impact service. It's not going to impact your true business. So finding ways that you can bolt AI onto your business, and no, it's not just going to be one AI. It's going to be several AIs that you're going to need to bundle into your business, that you can't lose sight that your business is what you've been doing for the last 20 years. So I'd find the people that are ready to adopt AI, and then maybe make an education portal of people that are on the fence and let them see some of the easy wins. And that's like the big benefit, is letting them see an easy win with AI that's practical, and then building from there, and knowing that you're just that advocate for them on that AI adoption path, because you're not going to be able to, like, you could have the best software that would make them money all day long, but if they are hesitant, you're sort of wasting your breath, and they're just wanting to fight to be right, and then it sort of stagnates, where you could go out and find 10 other people that are like, this is what I've been waiting for, I just needed some direction.
Well, now speaking of that,
Yeah, no, I like what you said, the bolt on, because it reminds me just like of like a bolt on, like on a car, like you bolt on a supercharger, bolt on a turbo, and then you're getting way more output, right? Way more horsepower. So I kind of like that analogy. So very cool, Chris. Thank you.
Well, so putting you on the spot here, Chris, because this is a tough, I know I would have a tough time with this question, but if you had to pick for a small business, say you're consulting with a small business and you want to get them started in AI, other than telling them to go to ChatGPT and start to use it, what is one tool that you would recommend that every business should be using, other than the prompt exchange?
Oh, great. Well, I would first find out their content management system, right? And then I'd find the leading solution for their content management system in AI that's affordable, that they know is going to help them produce, it's going to be efficient, and it's going to be effective for them. There's all types of content management systems out there. There's going to be an AI solution that's going to rise to the top. There's probably, if you Google and just search, or come to a group, or go, and search some like Product Hunt, or, AppSumo, or some of these other sites, you're going to be able to find an AI that's affordable, that's going to fit your need, and you're going to be able to bolt it onto your content management system. that's what you should go with as a small business, is what's affordable and what can easily integrate into your current content management system, because there's no need. I mean, you can always build a better system, but the better solution for tomorrow is I buy this solution today that bolts onto my content management system, and then I can turn it on. And with that, I wish I would like give some names out and things like that, but I think the best solution would just be to do some research on it and then come back to your show in the next couple of weeks, and maybe you'll have some more recommendations, or they can come over to ChatGPT for Business and Life and ask questions in our group about what they're currently dealing with, and I'm sure our community will try to match them with the right solution.
Great advice.
This is your big opportunity to give a little plug for your group. I'm going to put the URL to it in chat again. I've put it up there before, but I'm going to put it in chat again. There you go. ChatGPT for Business and Life. And what do you think the marketers will really get out of this group? I've gotten a ton out of it, but what do you think is your claim to fame?
So I think that, it's a little bit of my personal journey with AI, being a tech entrepreneur. It's a lot of the SaaS early adopters of AI that have joined up, and they're sharing their experience and their products and their tools. You'll get to see how we got to help a quarterback use AI, and now they're being very successful. Whether it's the AI or their pure talent is up for debate. I'd say the pure talent, but at least we're showing that. We were the first person to use AI to win a legal battle. I got into a zoning issue because I built a shed and I used AI to write my filings. So a few weeks ago, we shared that experience on how we were able to do legal work using AI. And then for marketers and business people, we're sharing just not only the latest that's coming down from Meta or Google, we're actually sharing ways that AI can be implemented in your business, whether you're trying to do translations into another language, whether you're just trying to build better marketing or ad tech or lead generation. So I think there's a little bit for everybody. We're a little bit about business. We're a little bit about life. That's why we're ChatGPT for Business and Life. And I'd like to thank you both for having me on the show. Really enjoyed it. Enjoyed the conversation.
Oh, thank you so much, Chris. You're a wealth of knowledge and inspiration with this. So we'd love to have you back, and can't wait to see what else you do.
Thank you. And I'll see you in the group because I'm there every day.
Definitely awesome. See you in the group.
We'll see you, Colin. Awesome. See you, Kim.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris.
Bye.
Great. That was amazing.
So, got anything from Ada for us this week?
Oh, yes, news. That's right. I think we do have something. Let me see. Can I find it? I think I have found it. Here we go. Here's your news for the week, courtesy of Ada Australis.
Thanks, Kim. Google AI announced that it has developed a new AI model that can generate realistic images from text descriptions. The model, called Imagen, was trained on a massive data set of text and images. It can generate images of objects, scenes, and people that are indistinguishable from real photos. This could have a major impact on the way businesses create and market products and services. Salesforce announced that it is acquiring the AI company Gecko.ai. Gecko.ai develops AI-powered chatbots that can help businesses with customer service, sales, and marketing. This acquisition could help Salesforce to improve its customer service capabilities and compete with other AI-powered customer service solutions. Microsoft announced that it is launching a new AI platform called Project Bonsai. Project Bonsai is designed to help businesses build and manage AI models. It provides a visual interface that makes it easy to create and deploy AI models. This could help businesses to adopt AI more easily and quickly. IBM announced that it is opening a new AI research center in Paris. The center will focus on developing AI solutions for healthcare, finance, and other industries. This could help IBM to expand its AI business and compete with other AI leaders, such as Google and Microsoft. That's all the news for now. Back to you, Kim and Colin.
Wow. She was a little bit, she had a little bit of an uptick there at the end. We're going to have to work on that. Awesome.
Nice.
So much good stuff. Well, great show, Kim. Thank you so much. Anything you want to end with?
No, just I'm really I love this. Guest was so informative.
I know. I can't wait to have Chris back. Yeah, I and honestly, hey, I'm sure people want to know how, you know, if you're in sports, how you can get more touchdowns or anything. I mean, that's incredible. I got to go read that story. And, you know, my dad's an attorney, and I was talking to my mom about this, and I said, you know, she was like, I wonder like how your dad could use this. And I said, he can have it write some, you know, he'll never do this. But I was like, you could probably have it do maybe write some arguments or write some legal things. So I definitely want to share that story with them. I just think that's incredible. So so much great stuff. I love to see how people are innovating. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Bye-bye.
Okay.